Hello, everyone, and welcome to Quad Radio as we roll through another edition of our preseason warm-up to the 2014 AMSOIL Grand National Cross Country Championship by Maxxis, which is coming up this coming weekend, March 8th and 9th there, just north of Daytona in Bunnell, Florida, at the Mudmucker Ranch. It's the Mudmucker GNCC, and also amping up as well to the opening round of the Mountain Dew AMA ATV National Motocross Championship Series on the national scene. Of course, there's plenty of things going on the regional level. We're going to be talking Southeast Quads coming up soon with Glenn Turner and a few other guys as we give a shout-out to those boys and, of course, the great things they've got going on down there on a regional level, and there's plenty of other regional folks we're going to be talking to. I've also got some other great guests lined up for the upcoming week. I hope to get those, but I know myself, like so many, are getting set to head to beautiful, sunshiny Florida, or maybe already on their way, like our next guest coming up with us tonight, the one and only Ken Pappy Hill. From, most people know him from ATVRiders.com. Well, most recently, the social media guru for the GNCC series and also ATV Motocross. We want to welcome him here in just a moment. Again, we just want to say thanks again. Quad Radio, an unsponsored effort at this particular point. We are grassroots, and we're just kind of growing this thing back to hopefully its original glory where it was a couple of years ago. But nonetheless, thanks out to the folks over at Maxxis Tires and Impact Solutions Group that also take our friends at Elka Suspension, Big Steve and Denny and Jay and all those guys over there. Thanks again, man, for believing in Quad Radio there a few years ago. Also, Big Pat McGuire, BP, he helped out a lot there with the Tire Balls rep, and I just want to salute those guys, reminding you that if you're going to be going to the GNCC, that they'll be doing new installs with some new kits and things like that, but your tire changing or your actual tire ball installations, past new ones or whatever, will be done through Santo Derisi or maybe ITP or Maxxis or some other outlet. If you check the GNCC Racing website, you'll be able to find a press release on that, what you need to do. Now that the thanks are out of the way, also, I want to say thanks to, I believe his name, who's the web guy there at ATVRiders.com, Ken Hill?
Harlan.
Well, there's another guy that works with you guys, I think, also, that helped, I guess, build the website.
Jeff Ansell.
Yes. He has contacted me about Quad Radio and said that he is very interested in helping, the website. So he's going to be actually helping out with a little website design. So I want to salute him tonight as well and say thanks to him. I know he does a lot of the web designs and stuff for a lot of different folks. We'll talk a little bit more about that whenever we get ready to relaunch the quad-radio.com website in the coming weeks. But right now, let's talk to this guy right here, Ken Hill. Ken is one of the most, and I don't think I'm going to over-introduce him because I'm only going to scratch the surface. This man is one of the, number one, most humble people I know, one of the most down-to-earth people I know, one of the hardest-working people I know, and just all around most talented individuals I know on any front, whether it be mechanical, whether it be woodworking, whether it be photography, you name it. I mean, this guy right here has got it in the bag. He grows his own food. He hunts his own food. He don't take no crap from nobody. He looks like maybe some guy that you might see down at the behind the deli at Kroger sometimes. Maybe the local sheriff guy, or maybe even a state patrolman. You wouldn't know he was as redneck as they come to the bone is what he is. But nonetheless, that is just a few of the great things that describe the greatness of one Ken Hill. Ken, welcome to Quad Radio, man. I can't believe it's taken me so long to actually get you on the program, but man, I just got to say that you are one of the, I admire, you're my hero. I give a great way to say that.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. You make me sound pretty good. Need to call my wife and fill her in on some of that.
Well, and a great family man too. I didn't even bring that part of it even in. I mean, you're a great family man. You got two great boys. You got one of them, I think, still in high school. One is actually in the Army, I believe, right?
He's MP in the Army. Yep.
Well, Ken, real quick, let's tell folks exactly who you are and what you do right now. I kind of introduced it. You do a lot of the social media stuff. You're one of the big wigs over at ATVRiders.com. You work with Harlan Foley over there, but you're also so much more to us in the GNCC and the ATV Motocross Nationals, just through the social media aspects of it, man. I mean, and the photog part of it, man. I mean, you've just brought both series to life, man.
Oh, it's been crazy. The race productions and MX Sports, I guess, last year, maybe the end of the year before, just gave me the opportunity. They just needed somebody in-house that could do what they needed to do to go after the stuff they needed to go, have. And I just happened to be right place, right time. And then this year, they needed somebody to step in and handle their social media. So I just grabbed another ball cap off the rack. Now I'm doing it all, I reckon.
I think Harlan put it right whenever you found out some way to find an extra couple hours in the day, because, man, it seems like you're constantly, anytime I get on the internet, on the web, Ken Hill seems to be logged in, and, I'm thinking, surely to goodness, it's just like his computer is online or something wacky like that, and I'll message you just out of the blue at like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and you'll answer back, man. I'm like, what? What are you doing up? And then, 6 hours later, you're back on it again at like 10 o'clock. And I don't know how you do it, man. I don't know how you find the time to do it. Plus, I mean...
it's not... I'm on there a lot, but I'm out in the garden working for a while. I come back in, I check it. I go back out of the shop, I do some work, I come back in, I check it. And I never, ever, till the end of last year, had what they call a smartphone. Harlan got mad and said, if you got to have a phone, I got to be able to get a hold of you anywhere you're at. And I said, fine, you buy it and pay for it. So he bought me a smartphone, and he takes care of it. So now it's an electronic leash.
Uh-oh. Well, right now, Ken Hill, we may have just lost contact with old Kenny. And I'll tell you what, I was talking about one of the hardest working guys and one of the guys that's able to find extra hours in the day. That's what Harlan had said. Well, Kenny right now is in the process of traveling south, if I'm not mistaken. If you've been watching any of the media websites, ATVRiders.com and several of the other, you're probably seen that Kenny has been busy at several different races and several different places, taking photos and doing photo shoots and things like that. Kenny, are you back with us, man?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right.
I crossed into Georgia. This must be a Yankee phone, and they tried to mess with
it. they got you pegged coming right across the state line right there, huh?
Yeah, because, it's a Maryland phone, and that state goes both ways. So I don't even know where did I lose yet.
Harlan had given you the phone. He was paying for it at that point. I think it was about where we left you.
Oh, yeah, he bought it, and now it's an electric leash, so wherever I'm at, this thing's buzzing off in my pocket and making noises, and right, it's not right in the bedroom, so that at 3 in the morning when you text me, that I don't answer it, but no, I'm not on there as much as what it appears, but it's your job. I mean, I get paid to do that. It's like you work.
Uh-oh. We're losing you again. Kenny, you're going to have to hit the Welcome Center there in Georgia, man. We'll wait for Kenny to come back in with us. This is what I like about the realness of quad radio and the grassroots of it all. It could be a lot more polished. It could be a lot of this and it could be a lot of that. But, folks, this is the way that I like it right here. And actually, I think I completely lost Ken right there. So stand by. We'll be right back in just a second as Quad Radio will return. You'll never even know. You won't even miss a beat here. I may cut it out. I may not. I probably won't because I just want to show how grassroots it is. So stand by here, and we'll be back in like a second with Kenny. I promise. Oh, there you are calling me back. And welcome back. And welcome back to Quad Radio.
Man, they're just beating me up down here in Georgia.
No doubt. Can you find the what do they call that? The welcome area there?
I don't know. I'm going to pull over here and maybe they can't find them. I'll hide in one of these shopping centers for a few minutes, and that way y'all don't have to listen to the highway noise going down the road. There we go. But no, like I was saying, it may appear I'm on there 24/7 because I am on there 24/7.
So
it's definitely. Hang on for a second. We're going to get in a parking lot here or get pulled over one.
Yeah, you are Yankee in Georgia, remember, man. Now, are you running?
Oh, no, I'm no Yankee. This phone's from Maryland. It might be a Yankee phone. But anyway, no, back to everything. Yeah, they, Racer Productions, they wanted somebody that they could basically say, hey, we need pictures of this, that, and the other, and be able to get it right then, have it in-house, use it for their needs, and that's pretty much what this started out as. And they, this year, especially going on with the motocross, they wanted a lot bigger presence in social media. And so that was pushed on to me, which, hey, I'll take it. And we're just growing it. That's all I can say, just going forward, just trying to get it done.
You're doing a great job. I've noticed that there's been a lot more likes on the page. If you haven't liked the ATV Motocross page on Facebook, you need to do so. If you haven't liked the GNCC, the Grand National Cross Country Series web page on Facebook there, you need to do that as well. A great source for information as well as just a great place of entertainment too, Ken.
Well, it's tough because you want to keep a very professional image. You never know who's going to be on there looking, but at the same time, it's being serious all the time just isn't in my nature. So I'm going to horse around where I can, and hopefully they won't yell at me too bad.
I don't think so, man. I think you're the right guy for the job, man. I mean, that's for sure, and. I mean, you're a young guy, really, relatively. I mean, you're what, just barely 40, early 40s, if that?
43, yep.
43.
Over the hill.
Well, I want to get into that in just a second, but really, I want to know, what are you doing right now, man? I mean, I've been reading on ATVriders.com. You went and covered a couple of races, I guess, and I guess, weren't you out in Indiana covering the IXCR or something like that?
Yep, left last Friday evening and drove out there and shot the IXCR event for Tim and the gang. There's another series that they've looked at social media and they've looked at the media. I guess you'd say that for all of their trophies and plaques and different things, they wanted. And I don't mean to sound that I'm better than anybody else by any means. They just wanted a very consistent look. And they basically told me that every free weekend that they have a race that I'm not at the Nationals, they'd like me out there. And they're using that. If you ever look at any of the IXCR stuff, it's really good graphics, really good promotional items that they have. I wouldn't even call it a local series. I told Tim, when you get 700 riders at an event, that's a regional series.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And, I mean, Indiana is just a hotbed of racing, motocross, GNCC, style racing. So, more power. I think there's 4 series now in Indiana.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. I mean, there are, and there's a lot of names coming out of Indiana as well. And it wouldn't be surprising to me to start seeing some champions come out of there. I know that, we got a lot of the Ohio and or European flavor that have been winning a lot of the championships as of late, it seems like. But I don't think it's long before we're going to see an Indiana boy be one of the contenders for a championship on ATVs and on the two-wheel side of things, both ways.
Well, I mean, you look at a few years back when West Virginia had 4 or 5 series going, and we were getting top seeds out of there that were running strong. Indiana's building the same thing, and you take a kid who gets into racing young and he comes up through the ranks, and heck, by the time he's racing B or A class, maybe his parents have already got him into the GNCCs, and by the time he gets pro-am, he's groomed, he's ready to go. And from there, it's just, it's all on him and what kind of team they can put together and keep it together in the woods. Pennsylvania's always been strong, same thing here, but that's got a 20, 25-year history of having solid, long-term series where the riders can grow. And I think that's important for just about any state to have if you're going to, you can't ask a guy to go to a local race 600 miles away.
Yeah, it's tough, man. It is tough to do all that traveling, and it's those local or regional feeder series that really build the national series into what it is, I think, man.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's just like an infusion. That's how we started. We started out with my kids when they were little racing, the Fall Coon Series in West Virginia, and next thing you know, we were at the Nationals. And the weekends we weren't at the Nationals, we were back at the Coon Series testing and training and letting him come up through. And so many of them have done that. And I think that's the biggest difference between the ATVs and the bikes, especially when it comes to motocross. I mean, I don't even know if there's too many series in West Virginia as far as a local series anymore. I use West Virginia because that's where I'm from.
Right.
But, when you've got a motorcycle versus an ATV, the bike guys, they can throw the bike in the back of the truck and go to just about any track, any weekend, almost all year long and race.
Yeah.
The ATV guys can't. And at least with the cross-country side, it's building. It's kind of where they live, of course. They've got a good series to go to. They stand a chance at climbing that ladder. Everybody's probably thinking right now, I know a guy who, he was the best, but he couldn't afford to do it.
Yeah.
He couldn't afford to train.
Mm-hmm.
And now it seems like if you're going to be any good, you better be down south, for a month and a half before the season starts just to get polished up.
Yeah, you don't have much choice otherwise, and you're not going to be competitive. I mean, there is no more racing yourself into shape and being considered a contender for the championship, I don't think. I'm not saying you can't race yourself into shape and be a contender for a win by season's end, but you're not going to race yourself into shape and be a contender for the championship, I don't think.
Hey, John Natale last year at Georgia asked if he was ready to go, and he said, it'll take me a round or two, but I'll be ready. And I thought to myself right there, I said, dude, a round or two, nothing. These guys are bringing it, from that first round. And I haven't talked to John, but just from what I observed, he's taking this year a little bit more serious.
I agree with you. I'm seeing the same thing, man.
But, and with him, with this new Moto Time format, John, all of a sudden, to me, is going to be a brand new rider.
Yeah.
He is going to be a handful for Weenan and Brown and Kramer.
Mm-hmm.
And it's only a slight change in the time.
Mm-hmm.
But you had Augusto on a couple episodes back, and he was talking about coming from the back and waiting and then putting a charge on. There's none of that anymore.
Mm-mm. Nope.
You're gonna that gate drops and it's bang the boogie until the checkered flag flies.
Yep. But
I hope that for as a photographer, getting these guys, 2-3 of them in a turn, that's awesome. For the video guys, getting good close battles, again, awesome. All that adds is, fervor to the fans.
Yeah.
Right now, and we're not showing the world ATV motocross, and we're not even showing the world GNCC racing. Right now, we're still showing the series. We're still showing the people that go there and the nucleus that follow it closely. So when we break out and all of a sudden the masses are exposed to this, it's got to have a look. It's got to be a certain way, or it's just not interesting. I don't think you'll find a bigger ATV racing fan than I am. And there's some races where you're standing there and it's like, is it over yet?
Yeah.
There's so many reasons for that. It's not that anybody's better than the other or anything else. You've got such a mix of top seed talent that this is their full-time job. They train at it. You got the next tier that, can't do it full-time. They've got to work a regular Joe job and train when they can. And then you got the guys that are just getting into the pro class, and they're just trying everything under the sun to get their level up there.
Yeah.
In a few years, we're going to have another 12, 15 riders that, have reached that level, and it's going to be exciting again. It's just amazing to look at things. I always look at things in a historical perspective. I try not to look at anything in short term, and I, guys like Casey Martin, Tim Detling, Tyler Hamrick, those riders are just they're going to be awesome. Everything stays healthy and their program stays strong. These guys are going to be the ones we're talking about in 2 years, 3 years.
Oh yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly, man. I mean, there's a lot of names. I mean, you can look all the way back into the youth ranks right now in both the national series that we cover quite closely, Ken, and the GNCC and the ATV motocross. You look back through the ATV motocross. I mean, there's a bunch of names that you can that you can look at that are making the transitions through the youth ranks right now. I mean, Lane Baird being one of those of the younger groups. You got the Ford boys. You got. Man, I mean, there's just so many. I mean, I got so many popping into my mind right now. I can't even really spit them out. But I mean, the plate's full, and if they stick around for a while, man, I mean, yeah, you're right. I mean, the future holds so much, and it's only going to get better. GNCC, same side of thing as over there, man, and we're ready to see some big things as far as historical proportions over there, because Chris Borich is getting ready for his historical break of the ATV, being the winningest ATV rider right now. When he left the season last year, if memory serves me correct, he was tied with Bill Balance at 67. When he wins his next race, that will be number 68. That will tie him. That will make him the winningest ATV racer of all time, and that will tie him with Barry Hawk with a total number of overall 68 wins. And man, another win after that, and then Chris Borich is the man. So there's a little historical value for you, huh?
Oh yeah. He's Chris. I watched Chris ride since he was in D class. I got a chance to actually race with him way back, and as he passed me lap after lap, it was you just knew he was going on to good things. I remember talking to his dad and telling him to slow down, stop trying to catch Bill and pass him, and finally he did. Came under his own, took over where Bill left off, passed Bill, and the rest of this day is history. I think this year is going to be his toughest year. Fowler, Biffle are the two right now that are sticking in my head that are just going to wear him out.
Yeah.
I mean, Chris has got talent. I mean, this guy can dig in his bag of tricks anytime he wants, but one thing they haven't done yet is get him out of his comfort zone, and keep him there. Mm-hmm. Fowler did it a time or two last year. You could tell Fowler just went out there and was like, you know what, I'm winning this thing, or I'm going to leave this Yamaha on the track in pieces. Like McGill says, checkers or wreckers, and he did it. And the pace that these guys are setting now is you can't show it in pictures, you can't show it in video. You can talk about it, but you have to be there and experience it. And that's one thing that's hard to get to the masses, is just the talent that runs through both these series. The bike guys, they're just flat nuts. I mean, it's, you got guys that are making a living jumping over things and doing backflips and crazy stuff, but the real world guys are out there racing, like Jason Thomas, out of the back of his truck, and now he's on a little bit better team. And look at Chris Bach. And I mean, I know this is quad radio, but it's these guys are in the sport. They're with our quad guys. They're training each other.
Yeah.
That's just got to bring good things for the future. Whether it's through relationships or maybe training techniques. Who knows? But it's neat watching the GNCC side of it grow up together.
Oh, it is. It really is. And the enthusiasm that it brings in the crossover aspects of it. I mean, just seeing, at the banquet, I know you were one that stuck around. You took a lot of pictures and everything. But, at the banquet, on Friday night for the ATV motocross banquet, I kid you not, Chris Bach probably sat there longer than anybody as far as ATV GNCC people that week, that night, and I'm including pros. When even most of all the pros were gone out doing something else, Chris Bach was still sitting at the table watching the awards presentation. I thought that was neat, man. I mean, that showed to me that Chris is a pretty good, genuine dude. He appreciates what these guys, everybody from every level, the kids right up through the pros, what they do, and he sat there to acknowledge that, man. And I thought that was great. I was, that impressed me, to say the least, man. And it is pretty neat, the camaraderie that we have with the crossover there.
Right. Yeah, and that is working in the GNCC series to everybody's advantage. There's pictures the other day. There's Chad Weenan and Chris Borch and Johnny Gallagher all going out there. They're doing their bike training, their bicycle training. That's, it's not unheard of, but I guess now with social media, we're allowed inside that world on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And it's what people want. That cracks me up because everybody, is like, hey, you take great pictures. It's like, yeah, that's great, but the ones I'm looking at are the ones you took with your cell phone, stuff that I didn't see or wasn't part of. That aspect of it, if we can harness that,
mm-hmm.
if we can somehow bring these people in to help show, the human side of our sport, then it's going to help. It's got to help with sponsors. It's got to help with, getting attention, because everybody likes a good story.
Yeah, they do. They do. And I think Johnny and I think Chad and I think Chris, though Chris, he don't do a lot of the storytelling. Johnny, I think, does most of it for him. But, he does a good job they do a good job of keeping everybody informed and allowing us into that world, man. I thought it was pretty cool, to see those guys out doing their road biking and stuff. I thought it was pretty cool getting to see, a few videos, snaps here and there of their training together and stuff, just little one-liners and stuff, just to give us an idea of what's up with those guys. I love the social aspect of this media, the social media thing, man. I love how it gets us right in there. And what's really cool is nobody is having to pry for it. This is information that these people are offering on their own, man. And that's what makes it so much more genuine and so much more special, I think.
Well, and if you look at it, they're showing what's important to them, whether they think about that or not.
Good point.
They'll put up a picture and they may make a funny comment under it, but if you look at the picture, there's a story in that picture. They're cross training, they're doing this, they're working hard. That's the story, and that's what the younger people coming up are seeing.
Yeah.
And you look through it. Walker Fowler is funny because a few years back, Walker Fowler had told, or his mom or dad had told me that it was like midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. They heard this noise and they're like, what the heck is that? And they go upstairs and Walker's up there lifting weights at some crazy hour in the morning. And then just the other day, Bertie Livingood posted that, it's midnight. I don't know what to do except train and lift weights. It's there. The drive throughout the ranks is there.
And Ken, this brings me to the big question right here, the question that I've often asked myself, and I guess maybe you could say it from my aspect of my career, but in reality, what's at the end for us all at the end of this? These riders, even us in the industry, man, that love the sport so much. What is that carrot that's there? What keeps us driving?
You got to figure out what the end game is, what your end game is. Nothing in this life is guaranteed. You sign up to a race, or you take a job in this series or the sport, no matter where it is in the industry, it's just like any other job. And then on the same breath, it's totally different than any other job. Because there absolutely is no guarantee. And I think if we can, we just got to get something. And I know exactly what you're questioning. And I don't know the whole answer to it, but there needs to be something in place. So when a guy starts out, or a kid starts out 8, 9 years old, and he comes up through the ranks and he's good and he makes it to a pro, there's something there for him.
Yeah.
Whether it be money, there's got to be something there for him, and that's I think the next step. And that goes back to what I said. We're doing nothing more right now but showing the industry and the racers and their family and friends what we do. We've got to find out what it takes to break out and show the world what we do.
Yeah.
And when that happens, you have the numbers.
Yeah.
And when you have the numbers, when these guys that figure out marketing and advertising and sales, they don't care about Johnny Gallagher, True Sports, championship wins, whatever. They're numbers people. They're flat numbers people. They want to know how many people watch that episode over the course of the year, and that's a building process. And Racer Productions is on it. I mean, I told everybody in a meeting, I guess it was back in January, I said, you guys are building something from nothing.
Yeah.
You basically said, hey, we need coverage, we need TV, but there was nobody there to help. And I speak tongue in cheek. There was nobody there to help say, oh, here's a check for $200,000, go do it.
Right.
They basically started that from nothing.
Yeah.
And look at it now. They've got full-on live broadcasts from the races. And it's the people that are in the series doing it. It's not outside people they brought in.
Right.
And that goes back to what you said. It's genuine.
It is, I mean, and it's pretty cool. We did a press release. I know I don't know if it's come out yet or not. And just to let people know, Quad Radio is in no association whatsoever with anybody in particular other than me. I work for, of course, Racer Productions, as well as various other places where I do some freelance work and stuff. But anyway, in the press release the other day, I stated that, it was an honor to work a second year with a group of people that was as passionate as I was about the sport. And that's exactly how I feel about it, because, that's the only reason that I can even explain why I'm even in the industry, why I'm even in the sport right now. It's a passion. I don't know what I've never really thought about what the end of the rainbow is for me, man. I'm just enjoying what's going on right now so much.
I didn't know there was an end of the rainbow. I haven't been able to find one in several different things, but no, I mean, it is. It's you get into this because you love it and you live it. And if you're fortunate enough to be able to do it for a living, you feel blessed.
Amen.
And that's it in a nutshell. When I took the job for Racer Productions, about taking the pictures of the GNCCs, it was so funny. I knew Barry, I knew you, but I didn't know anybody else. They were like, go talk to this guy, and I had no idea who they were. None. I didn't know who Dean was. I didn't know who Jen was. And then, I'm an outsider. And after a year and a half of working for him, I still don't consider myself an insider. But I feel like I'm part of the team. You
are. You're a huge part of the team.
Well, that's a good feeling for somebody to have. And that's also why I think the GNCC series excels. Because for the majority, when they go to a race, it's family. They feel like they're part of something. And people quest after that. They lust after it. And they want that. And that's why we all do this. There isn't sane people that spend money to go race 2 hours, 800 miles from home, and then turn around and drive back for a $3 trophy. You do it because you want to. You do it because you love it. And there's a select few that are cut above, and they prove it season after season. And those are the guys that reach the pinnacle of the sport. I don't know. I mean, I can't tell you what's in it for Chris Sports. I can't tell you what's in it for Walker Fowler. But maybe what we can do is look back and say Cody Collier. Maybe by the time he hits pro, and maybe if he's winning championships, there actually might be a career in it for him.
Yeah.
If it grows. And everything I've seen so far, they're making the right choices. They're making the right things happen. And I mean, again, I'm just proud to be part of it. And I don't kiss anybody's rear end.
Right.
If somebody messes up, I'll be the first one to stand there and say you messed up. But these people, I mean, every single one of them just. They tell you talking about me being busy. I stopped in the office last week just to get a phone number for a phone meeting we were having. And it looked like Santa's workshop, and these people were going crazy. I mean, not the people that go to the races, just them. I mean, regular office people that hardly ever you never hardly see them at a race. If you do, you wouldn't even recognize them. These people are going crazy working. I think if more people knew that, it just does nothing but help, because they know people are working hard for them. But, back to the big question, man, I just don't know. I'd love to see a factory ride for every pro. And everybody is always asking that, and I have no clue. I wish I knew.
Well,
And
whatever it is.
The person who comes up with the solution to that is going to be a hero.
Yeah. The good thing about it is I think that, there's something there that keeps those people coming back. And, not everybody's able to find that magic combination of talent, speed, luck, and the sponsors and the money that comes along with it. But there are a select few that are able to do so. But Kenny, one thing, you talked about Racer Productions doing it right. And, I gotta admit, I agree with you. If you look back during the time of the recession, and you looked across the board, everywhere you looked, everything you heard, all the numbers were down, and even in the GNCC, we were seeing some noticeable things that were down. But what we were seeing is that there were only select events like that. There, as a whole, the overall over the course of the time, we didn't really lose a whole lot. And actually, I think there was a little, not necessarily growth from the aspect of where we have more numbers, but there was growth because I think there were new people that came in. And now we're seeing those new people and the people that were having it rough those few years coming back. And I think it's amazing, man. I mean, how even during the toughest of times, it held strong through it all. And it still continues to seem to do so. I mean, I know we're not at the end of the rainbow yet, or the end of that horrible ride as far as the economy is concerned. But I mean, it's getting brighter. It's getting better. I mean, things are starting to look up.
Well, yeah, it is. There is some improvement. That this economy, the American economy, I don't think it can be stopped. You can knock it down and drag it out. We find a way. I mean, we're Americans. When a guy wants to order a part and he uses 4 credit cards to pay for that part just so he can go to a race, you're not stopping that guy. He's going to work 3 jobs or do whatever he's got to do to be there. I'm talking about your typical C-class, B-class rider. I mean, these guys just won't quit. And it's part of being a part of something.
It is.
And that is the difference that, we have. It's a select sport. It's not a mainstream sport yet. And that's part of it. You look at freestyle. Those guys are just a tight little group of guys. But is there probably 20, 25 guys at any one time all around the world that handle probably 98% of every freestyle event you find in stadiums.
Yeah.
But you're going to tell somebody that, they can go and become a freestyle guy. Sure you can if you got what it takes, but, it's that family. It's that tight little family. Well, we just have to be a tight little family of, a couple thousand people a weekend.
Yeah.
As far as the racers go.
Yep.
And the factories, everybody says, "Oh, let the factories come back." Well, they will come back. But when the economy tanks, and the sport quads and whatever are sitting on the dealership floor for 6 months and don't sell, they're not going to put money into a racing sport.
Yeah,
it's just plain and simple business. Honda hasn't come out with anything new. I mean, what they do, change the stickers on the 450R? There's no innovation because there's no reason for it. They've got a decent product, so it's stable. The economy takes a big jump. Honda's going to come out with something new. Bam! You've seen it before.
Yep.
And then you got your businesses. These people, most of the people that race in the series are independent. They family businesses or whatever. They're hurting. When the economy's down, they can't afford to buy G.I. Joe with the Kung Fu grip at Christmas time. But come the first round, that quad's ready.
Yeah, it is.
They sacrifice as a family, to make this happen, and so it's got to grow. It's as the economy comes back, it will come. The growth will come back, and eventually we're going to see. And it may not be Yamaha in the pits or Honda in the pits as we think of a general factory, but we might see these guys get some serious support, whether it be quads, a stipend of a draw of money for the season, whatever. But it will come. On the motocross side, the roof's wide open with that. They've made the changes. I think that's, like I said, going to help with the media side of it. And now we've just got to get the world to pay attention.
Yeah.
You know, and we've got the front men to do it. Could you not see John Natale on TV?
Oh man,
giving an interview. I mean, he's Joe Bird. He likes to talk. He gets excited. Chad Leading's quiet, but if he messes up, Thomas Brown will grab the mic from him.
And then you got
Nick are just as passionate. Just as stepped into this sport as anybody else, and yet here they are being crowned champions and all that. And other than a very small group of people, nobody knows them.
Yeah.
Me and John Natale can walk into Home Depot and nobody knows me and nobody knows John Natale.
Yep, that's true.
Or if I walk in with, Clint Boyer or, heck, I don't know, what's the other NASCAR rascal's name, Jeff Gordon. You bet before we get to aisle 40, somebody's screaming, running beside their baby. That's where we'd love to have John Natale be at, and where we'd love to have our stars of the sport at.
Yeah, but
it's just a question of getting it there.
It is. It's a huge.
It does not happen overnight. No matter how much I want it, you want it, everybody else wants it. It just will not happen overnight.
No, it even took NASCAR many, many, many years to get to where they are. So I mean,
they finally figured out that if they could put enough guys, with rebel flags in the infield and give them enough beer that they would grow. Every redneck needs Todd in the house. I mean, they've got to.
Yeah.
Everybody's got to have a product. Will we see that in GNCC and in motocross and in quad racing in general? I don't know. I mean, I called Tide, I guess it was a couple weeks ago, to see about them sending us some promotional boxes just to get out at the races.
Yeah.
Just those little trial ones, mainly because I need someone on the road to wash my clothes.
No doubt. Let me know if you could get that hooked up, man. That'd be awesome.
But no, I'm thinking if we can expose to the right people, and you never know when that right person is going to take notice.
Yeah.
Bam, something could happen. But it takes those reaching out to those companies and reaching out and sending emails and talking to them on the phone, or you're at a trade show and you catch them and you show them, hey, yeah, that's the thing. Everybody's got access to it, and the racers are their absolute best advertising agent. When they can pull up YouTube, bam, hey, check this out. Here's me.
Yeah.
Winning this race. I mean, they get to hold it in their hand and see it.
Never know what kind.
Social media thing. Why every pro racer should be so involved in social media, it should make you sick.
Yep.
Every pro-am racer should be involved in it. They should have a team page or a rider page, and if they've got to get help for somebody to run it, whatever, because that is the advertising medium we're in right now.
It is. It's free. It doesn't cost anything, and it pays a lot of bills in the end. I know it does. That Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. I mean, those are the top three that I think that guys are using, and that is definitely the ticket to market. And you're learning that yourself, man, and you've seen that. And with that, let's talk a little bit more about what you're doing right now. You just crossed into the Florida line. We talked the IXCR where you were there last week, and where you been all week, man. What have you been doing? Where you headed right now?
I'm actually in a parking lot in Georgia, so I could talk to you. Headed down. I was going to leave Wednesday and head down to the first GNCC, but old man Winter decided he wanted to dump a foot of snow on us. I'm driving a Mustang this year, so I got out of there a few days early, so I didn't get stuck.
Man, life's terrible, huh? You built that thing, didn't you?
Yep. I still got my big old Dodge truck for when it's going to be calling for nasty weather, but for these other races, I got to have a little fun in my life. It's not a mid-year life crisis. The supercharger or turbo system that goes on it, that's going to be the midlife crisis.
Tell us what you got there, man. Let us know what you got, because you've built this car. I've watched you build it on Facebook and talk about it and stuff. I mean, it's
bone stock. I mean, it's a 2011 Mustang GT 5 with the new 5.0 Coyote motor in it. I used to have a 91 5-liter. Built in a drag car. I mean, drag race. You talk about GNCC and cross country. If it was a drag race, we were there. That's why I know what these guys went through. Not only did I go through it with my son, I went through it with a car. I would work any amount of hours to get the extra money. I remember begging an account that I needed this sale simply because I needed new gears for my car. I said, I can't explain to you how bad I begged this guy. I think it's Friday. the car is going to be done this afternoon. I need this gear set, and I just don't have the money. If you'll buy this for me, I'll have the money in my commission check. I can afford the gears. I get to go fast.
That's
he
funny.
bought the product. I got my gears.
That is.
But anyway, yeah, the car. I mean, I got in it. I hadn't been in. I had a 91, and I bought a 2004. And it was a roach. I didn't really like that one too much. And but this one, it's a handful. It's just a fun car to drive. Ford gave it a little horsepower. I mean, I think stock is 400. And I'm either gonna put, I can't figure out if I'm gonna put a single turbo on it or a supercharger. I just want to be able to pull up beside a guy in a $90,000 vet and just eat him up. There's no better feeling in the world than riding up beside a guy who's got more gold on his fingers than you've got money in the bank. And when he punches the throttle, you wave at him and leave him just behind. It's just part of the street fun that I've always enjoyed and loved. And I don't advocate street racing, nothing stupid like that. It's just there's little times out on the road, and everybody who's ever seen it's done it. I just like that fun. And I admit it, I like pulling into a parking lot and goosing the throttle a bit and having every head turn. I mean, a guy just went by a little while ago, and he gave that car everything I think it had. You know, he's staring at me the whole time. My car's sitting still. And it's just fun. It's my release. I won't break the speed limit, but I can't guarantee that on the exit range. I love coming up to speed.
110 on the on ramp, down to 70 on the freeway.
That's pretty much. So I just love having fun, man. That's the biggest thing. At the races, I'm working so much, and my hearing is so bad. I don't get to talk to people like I used to because I shy away from them because I get so aggravated at myself for going, what'd you say? Huh? Can you repeat that? And I shied away from everybody.
See,
this year they're going to have to deal with me because I've got to get the information from them.
Yeah.
With doing the social media deal, I need those little quotes. I need this stuff. I've got to write the pro report, stuff like that. So they're just going to have to deal with it, or I'm going to have to get hearing aids or something.
People are going to be like, man, what they do? Change his medication or what?
I mean, that's one reason why I love when I found the internet. I mean, I'm old school. I'm pre-internet. When I found it, it was a way for me to converse with people where my hearing wasn't an issue. I can talk with anybody. That's a race truck. And it allows me to be, I can talk to one person in five different windows, have five different people going conversations and get work done where I could never do that on the phone or in person just because of the hearing problem. Makes
sense. It does. I know. I feel the same way. I know a lot of mine comes from being around the the loud machines a lot. I'm not going to lie about that. I think a lot of it. Plus, I used to be a DJ. I wore headphones and listened to loud music, and I do have a 3,000 watt audio pipe with two 15-inch kickers in the back of my caddy. So
that don't make my car go faster. I don't need it, but this thing's got some. Well, it's a shaker radio, and I don't know. It's pretty loud. Like I need loud music, but no. I mean, it's I shied away from everybody last year, and two was another reason for it. It wasn't my job to do a lot of the reporting last year. It just wasn't. And Harlan, you had him on last week, I guess it was. He kind of cut back too. It's the whole economy thing. He couldn't afford to put money and time into the racing side of things like he had done for almost a decade. I've watched other media sites, so to speak, do the same thing. It's just they just can't afford it. We're all caught up in that. But I told Harlan, I said this year, buddy, you need to go talk to these people. You need to get back involved in this. You're not anywhere where we wanted to be when we talked 5 years ago or 10 years ago. So, he's got some new life bred into him. So hopefully, we're going to see a lot more activity out of the ATVRiders.com site, his magazine, ATV Insider.
I'll tell you,
and he's coming to a few more races this year, which is fine because he always, I make him buy me dinner. So
it's always nice to do that. But yeah, man, I mean, ATVriders.com has been extremely active here over the last few weeks for the build up and amp up to the 2014 season. Pretty amazing stuff, man, what's going on there. And I've been pretty impressed by it, and I've been pretty well informed by it as well. So my hat's off to him, man.
He's a machine when it comes to that kind of stuff. I mean, he's the brains. I mean, I don't know, a lot of people don't know this, but, he had one hell of a good paying job. And he got involved with that site and ended up buying it and walked away from a job that, most people would kill for. And basically took a big step. And, when I retired from what I did for a living, I was, okay, I'll step in and do what I can do and let's see where it goes. And so both of us work pretty good together. And it's tough for me now because I'm in a position where he's a real good friend of mine, one of my best friends ever. But the business side of it, I have to stay away from involving myself too much with him or any outside media thing. You know what I mean? It's uncomfortable to me when somebody says this site or that site or whatever. It doesn't matter whose site it is because that's not my thing anymore. It's mine. I'm directed to the series. I'm going to, that's my job, my title, my baby, so to speak. I don't even follow Harlan closely enough other than, when he calls me on the phone to know what the heck he's even up to anymore.
Wow.
Just because I don't want him influencing me or the decisions I make or the choices I make.
Right, and that makes sense, man. I mean, it'd be easy to have that done, and what that also does is that gives two different perspectives on things, and it makes for, I think, better coverage all around by doing it that way as well.
Exactly, and if I'm looking at his pictures or anybody else's pictures and reading their reports, it's human nature to suck that up.
Yep.
Nope. And I'm trying. I don't want to do that. What I want to do is go there and get the information I get, and build it from there. And if I do a good job, then I do a good job. If I don't, they'll show me the door. This wasn't a voluntary job. It wasn't a you have to job. It was kind of a mutual thing because we both wanted the Racing Productions and me. We both want to see this sport grow.
Yep.
And, if I got to work 4 or 5 extra hours a day for no pay, I'll do it. And it doesn't have to be for them. It can be for the racers.
Yeah.
That's back to the part of the family thing. You just do it.
Yep.
And another reason to get these racers out there involved with doing their own thing is these teams should be putting out press releases. That you want to be professional, you have got to be professional.
You gotta act professional.
You've got to do it.
And you've got all the tools. And you've got all the tools to do it with. There's no doubt about it. I mean, every computer, every iPhone, every Android, every iPad, every tablet, they've all got what you need to do what you need to do to make it all possible. And there's no doubt in my mind.
That's the thing. It's not. You don't really need to sell yourself to your sponsors. They're already sponsoring you. But if you can, have that professional, polished look, it doesn't have to be perfect. But it puts that presentation out there, that presence out there in the media that we can share or we can draw information from, and just let it grow. A lot of people don't know. A lot of internal memos go on in these big companies. That after the race, that there's I'll send information or Harlan will send information, and that stuff gets worked in the memos that goes to the company. So some guy turning wrenches on the Honda line or at the Yamaha factory, he gets a release, towards the end of the week or something that shows him how Chad Whelan did. He's privy to that, and it's all internal. So the more information, the better they can get the word out there. It can't hurt them a bit. It's because nothing but positive stuff for them. A lot of guys, it's just a press release. No, it's more than that. That's your story.
Yeah, that's your way to connect with everybody out there and make it all possible. And man, looking at the clock, dang man, we've been going on close to an hour now, Kenny. And and I'm sure there's a lot more we could talk about, but just real quick, man, what are you doing in Georgia? Are you going to Dave Smith's, Digital Dave's? You guys going to go down there? And
No, I'm supposed to try to run down Rick Checo. I'm going to hang out with him for a few days at Croom, dodge the Rangers there with my camera, and just hang out and vet out for a day or two before the GNCC starts. Like I said, I wasn't supposed to leave till Wednesday, so I've got 2 or 3 days that I have absolutely nothing to do, and I have no idea what I'm going to do with myself.
Well, there you go. Go over and race Digital Dave, man.
Yeah, I go over there. We'll miss the whole GNCC.
I can believe it.
We're liable to just get too relaxed.
You guys might end up in jail or something, man.
Yeah. But, before I go, like I said, just the main thing I want everybody to know this year is that, you're going to get out of everything what you put into it. There's a whole lot of people that are behind you in the series that, want you to excel. So please work with them, whether it's in an email or a phone call. If they send you something or ask you a question, please respond to it as quickly as possible. We know you're not always at a computer. And we can all just work together to get this baby where she needs to be.
Amen, man. Amen. And let's it's the ATV Racing Nation, man, joining together. And
yeah, absolutely.
It is, and it is it's a family, like we say, and I feel so privileged to be a part of it, and I can't wait to see where it all goes. And Kenny, thanks again for all your hard work, all your efforts, everything that you do from a standpoint of the ATV racing community, man. I mean, I know you make a lot of sacrifices like we all have and do, and it is, I know I appreciate it, and people appreciate it and don't even realize it, but I'll let you know right now from the bottom of their hearts, it is appreciated, even if they don't realize who they're appreciating.
No, I do appreciate it, and, like I said, I don't go out there to make a name for myself. I never have. You don't see my name on every picture that's out there. I'm in it for the sport. I'm in it for the series, and I'm in it for the racers. And as long as they'll have me, we'll just keep charging ahead.
That's it, man. That's Kenny Hill. I'm Rodney Tomlin. This is Quad Radio.